Hi folks, and I want to give you a hearty welcome to my um, my room. This is my heart-to-heart room, and my name is Catherine Hart Teixeira, and I'm a cockeyed optimist. And so I'm just going to sing a little line from that song for you before I get started here. But I'm stuck like a dove with a thing called hope, and I can't get it out of my heart. Not this heart. That's from South Pacific. That's called Cockeyed Optimist, and I'll sing the rest of that without accompaniment at the end. But I just wanted to speak about what has come up for me today, what wants to come through. And this is not my usual format. My usual format is to write or to sing, to write poetry, to write songs, or to, in other words, to not necessarily use poetry or prose. But the more that I write poetry and, I said prose, but poetry and song, the more that I sing and the more that I write poetry, the more I become available to intuition and insight. And so I'm just going to trust that this message is going to resonate with whoever it resonates with, and it's going to call forth whatever it needs to call forth for you, because I realize that what comes through is for the whole. It's not just for me. And the reason that I know that is because I can't keep my mouth shut. So here goes. What I'm feeling and seeing when I touch in with the unmanifest as of yet realms is that people are preparing. There is a sense that people want to talk about their preparations for coming out of their self-imposed shells. And people are very, very excited about this, also just gratified to have a place to know that what they are doing and what you are doing and what we are all doing, what I'm doing, is welcome. There are people that have been preparing for a very, very long time for us to come forward, and what coming forward looks like is admitting that we're making space in our lives to contemplate the divine, and we're slowing down and living more simply. So that's what I'm seeing, is that there's an excitement that there are those who are getting it, that you don't need to have a lavish life. You don't need to go after the sorts of signs and signposts that say, yes, I have made it. I am succeeding here in the earth plane. I know what this is all about, and look at me at the top of the hill. And so what I'm hearing is that there's a lot of people that are seeing through that and seeing, well, that's one way to be, and sure, that looks like that game could be fun for a while. And there's some people who are very much engaged in that game. Look at me, look at me, look at me. And that may seem what I'm doing right here. Look at me, look at me, look at me. But what I'm intending is that it's, look at us, look at what we are as divine beings, look at what we are capable of, and what we can bring forth, and what we can admit to each other outside of the social constructs of what we're allowed to talk about. So what I hear is wanting to come through is people are wanting to talk about how they're excited they are to simplify their lives, how excited they are to start seeing their lives in terms that are more symbolic, how they're able to paint with big brush strokes, bright brush strokes, and write their story with really vibrant colors, and then come in and hone in on the details, and that they're seeing that their life is a play, and that it's a painting that they are creating. So there's that ownership and that sovereignty coming through, as well as a real honoring of that choice. So the choice is, I'm going to live simpler, and it's a choice that each individual starts to make when they start to feeling the tuggings that they want to create more space and more time to contemplate their own inner divinity, their divine inner child. And so they're creating space, a simple dwelling for their home, and it's plenty of room. It doesn't have to be big. You don't have to create tons of space. You don't have to like leave your job, leave your family. You don't have to. Um, you, you just need to, just carve out a tiny, tiny space. It could be 10 minutes in the morning or 5 minutes in the afternoon, where you just breathe and you wait. Waiting is one of those games that really has no rules, and it's really not a game. It's really just about coming to terms with you don't have all the information yet to move forward, and that's something to celebrate. As much as it is to celebrate, you're ready to go. So it's the same. It's the same coin, two sides of the same coin. Waiting is a celebration, and it's time to go is a celebration. And if you can, go that middle way and find that fine line, then when you're inspired, you're gonna go. And when it's time to wait, you can say, hey, I don't have all the information yet. I'm gonna wait. And so now that you've simplified your life and you've created space to contemplate your own symbolic life, your own divine play, you're coming to terms with that there's going to be times to move and times to wait, times to rest, and they're both times to celebrate. I hear that some people are creating space for themselves within, like not just a room in their house or 5 minutes a day or 10 minutes a day, but they're really carving out beliefs or fears, mostly carving out fears, which is really the linchpin of belief. If you're feeling afraid, it's usually a belief or a belief or an expectation that is supporting that fear. So it's an opportunity to stop and to look and to really look at that fear and to take a real wide angle lens. Really take your spirit, take your strength, your inner strength, and take time to be still and to look at what is that fear and where did it come from, and do I want to keep it? And if so, why? And if not, why not? And where do I want the why or why not to take me? And I hear people doing that for themselves, and what it's doing is it's taking them deeper into themselves. It's creating space so that the nuts and bolts of life are supporting their divine living. They're able to process and do that whole process. They're able to take the time to sort out, like sorting the laundry. Okay, this needs to go in the dark pile, this needs to go in the light pile, and then we'll wash them all up and dry them and fold them so we have new clothes to wear. And it's very much a recreation when you look at your fears. Like this fear, kind of goes in that pile over there. That's kind of like childhood. This fear is, my peers, or this fear has to do with, I don't want to stand out like a sore thumb, or I'm afraid nobody's going to listen to what I have to say or care what I have to say. Well, I'll cut to the chase for you right there. Nobody cares what you have to say, and nobody's necessarily going to listen to you. And if you're waiting for those conditions to start anything, you may have to celebrate waiting for a very long time. A funny story that came up for me today is that I was in the car, and I don't even know how it came up, but we had just picked up my kids from school, and my husband was driving, Fernando was driving, and they're kind of transitioning from the school mode to going home. It's actually school camp, summer camp mode, to going home. And so I asked them a question, well, what do I mean to you? What do I mean to you? And my child answered, he thought for a second, he said nothing. And then my other child said, a middle-aged mother. So, if you're waiting around for those mushy Hallmark cards to tell you, oh, you mean so much to me, Mom. Oh, I love you. I can't believe all these things you do for me. You're going to be waiting a long time, because you just need to pat yourself on the back. Say, I'm at a place in my life where, I really want to know what you think, because I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. I'm just doing my thing. I'm in my zone. I'm in my lane. So people are starting to celebrate that they don't need to fear anything, and they're creating space to process their fears so that they can stay solvent with themselves and to live simply And those that are aware that that's a possibility but aren't quite ready to step into simplifying their life of beliefs, of, you know, things to do, places to go, people to see, kind of playing the whole social game. People who are not ready, they see the choice. They're not on the fence. They say, no, I'm not ready to simplify. I really very much want to be in this life, that I'm at. That they see that, and that's to be celebrated too. You are where you are. It's perfect. And they may try and say, oh, wouldn't you like to come over here? Look at the fun that's possible here. And that's perfect too. You can say, yeah, I've been down that road, and that does look fun sometimes, but I'm doing what I'm doing here because I feel happy and fulfilled, and I'd rather feel happy and fulfilled, 90% of the time, and frustrated and, disappointed 10% than to feel frustrated and disappointed, half the time or 60% of the time, and then 40% is like really high and exciting, or whatever those percentages mean to you. It doesn't matter. It's just all energy. So another type of person that's coming forward is one that says, you know what, I have seen it all. And I am so proud of myself. You do not know what I have been through, and I am just content to just watch the show. I am here. I am comfortable resting. I'm comfortable being in my body and being in the earth plane and resting. And I'm just going to watch the show. I'm just going to enjoy it. I don't feel the need to participate a lot. I'm just going to chuckle and get my popcorn and, just be here. And that's completely valid. And there are some who are very much in support of all of these people. And as I'm talking, the insight's coming to me, the whole Jungian, the symbolic life, the archetypal life, they're all aspects of our own psyche. So what I'm talking about really is contained in each one of us. We each have our tensions and counterparts within our own psyche. And these may represent who we are at different points on our day. I mean, you may have these insights and these longings or these reservations or this rest period or these times of clearing out fears. It may all happen in a single day. It may happen for you in a week. It may happen for you in a year. Or you may identify with the dominant type of expression that's coming forward. All of it's perfect. All of it's divine. Because when we reflect back on our lives, we can see that there's always been a part of us that is essential and detached, that can't be touched by all the action, because our action and our identities have changed so much since we were this tiny little baby, learning how to breathe and cope with having a physical body. And the enduring self, the part of us that isn't even ever born, it accompanies and it clears the way, clears the path for our life, so to speak. And it also is the place that catches us when we fall. And it is our enduring reality. It's very hard to put these kinds of things in words. It's very hard to talk about. But it doesn't make it less true. It doesn't make it less real. So I'm going to stop talking for now and just say thank you if this has helped you. Thank you for listening. And I'm going to sing the South Pacific song called Cockeyed Optimist. And then I'm going to go into sounding, just bring forth some sounds and tones for the benefit of all listeners, including me, and then I'll sign off, okay? Here we go. When the sky's a bright canary yellow, I forget every cloud I've ever seen. So they call me a cockeyed optimist, immature and incurably green. I have heard people rant and rave and bellow that we're done and we might as well be dead. But I'm only a cockeyed optimist, and I can't get it into my head. I hear the human race is falling on its face and hasn't very far to go. But every whippoorwill is selling me a bill and telling me it just ain't so. I could say life is just a bowl of jello and appear more intelligent and smart, but I'm stuck like a dove with a thing called hope, and I can't get it out of my heart. Not this heart. Namaste, my friends, and thank you so much for being. You have been with Catherine Hart Teixeira in Heart to Heart.